All I can say is if the shoe fits, wear it, and if you must keep talking, won't you make it rhyme? Oh, your mind is on vacation and your mouth is working overtime. I said your mind is on vacation and your mouth is working overtime. Man, aren't you ready for your medication or something? I think your taxi's here. Please, just go away.
Breaking developments tonight in stories that we have followed right here on this program and on Hannity's America. Now, first tonight, by now you are all familiar with this man, Columbia University professor Rashid Khalidi. Now, the Los Angeles Times is still refusing to release a videotape of Senator Obama at a party for Khalidi, at which several offensive things were allegedly said. Mr. Khalidi rejected our request for an interview, but with 5 days left before the election and there being so many unanswered questions about this story, well, we took our cameras to find him, and find him we did.
Professor Khalidi? Hi, Griff Jenkins with Fox. Can I ask you a quick question?
You cannot ask me a
Could you just tell me, what's your relationship with Senator Obama? So we can clarify it, sir? I apologize for interrupting, but you become the centerpiece of the election. Will you at least call for the LA Times to release the video?
Excuse us, please.
What was said? What was said at that speech? Will you talk to us?
I will not talk.
Were you the spokesman for the PLO? Will you confirm that? Okay.
Pablo, get these guys.
You're at the center of the election, sir. Just some quick clarifications and we'll leave. Okay.
Yes, Arafat's former spokesman a little quiet there. So why is it every time we find one of these associates of Barack Obama, they run away and refuse to say anything? Why did they all seem to look so guilty? But that's not the only tape we obtained today of Mr. Khalidi. Now, take a look at this speech. He gave this speech in 1998, and he is discussing how American foreign policy gets corrupted by domestic politics. But the example that he uses, that's what caught our attention.
The second thing to keep in mind about American foreign policy is that it is largely determined by domestic considerations almost all the time. There are many other things that go into it, but domestic considerations are always extremely important. And these are often quite mundane. Indeed, these are sometimes appallingly crass interests. They're the kind of things that move domestic politics in Chicago. Money, votes, corruption, bribery, influence peddling, backdoor deals. The kind of things that Cook County, the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, the politics on the local level work through and because of. The kind of you scratch my back and I scratch yours kind of khosh-bosh type of dealing, which when it's talked about in the Middle East is considered revolting and degrading and third world corruption, is actually what oils American politics. If you don't know this, you're not living in the United States.
Now, anybody know any politicians from Chicago? Now, Khalidi makes it sound like corruption is just part of life in Windy City politics. Now, good thing Senator Obama doesn't know anyone, let's see, like Tony Resco? But that's not all. In just a few minutes, we're going to reveal some shocking and potentially explosive details about the unrepentant terrorist Bill Ayers. We have just confirmed, you see this book here today, and you won't believe what we're going to show you and who this book by Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn was dedicated to. That's coming up. But joining us first tonight with more on these stories is former Democratic pollster Pat Caddell, columnist Ann Coulter. You know, here's a guy, and the LA Times, there is a tape that he's praising this man, former, terrorist spokesman for Yasser Arafat. We know that he, viewed the creation of Israel as a disaster.
Right.
And anti-Semitic things were said at this event, and Barack Obama praised Khalidi.
Right.
So, but
right.
of course, nobody cares.
Even what little they reported about the event, it is shocking that a presidential candidate of a major party would be there. You have Ayers and Dorn again, of course. You have this Khalidi. You have Obama, who's apparently constantly having dinner with the Khalidis.
Yeah, they eat dinner frequently. They were frequent dinner companions.
And you have also now, you know, questions about who paid his Harvard tuition. And people don't even know about this story. We have yet another, you know, the father of the Black Panthers and another Muslim has apparently paid Obama's tuition, according to, his name is Percy Sutton, a big, know, civil rights activist here in New York. That's what he said.
We reported that. We played that tape on Hannity's America.
We got
nobody
Ayers,
else in the media has.
We got Jeremiah Wright, and now we have to have Griff Jenkins chasing down Khalidi here. Where is the rest of the media?
You know, Pat, I don't want to say anything, but we first interviewed, you know, Reverend Wright in March of '87. We followed the Bill Ayers story. Wait till you hear, because I know who you admire, Pat. I know your Democratic roots. When you hear who this book is dedicated to, you are not going to be happy. Now, here's the question. Why are so many people in this country willing to just not pay attention to these radical associations?
Well, look, I don't know about associations. I think some of them are spurious. I think others, you know, deserve questions. But here's the point. You're running for President of the United States. I want to say this about the LA Times story. It appeared in April. Obviously, you would think logic might dictate that maybe it was given over by somebody who was a supporter of Clinton's because it was in the primaries. But here's the point. All right, let's assume for a moment that they claim that they had an agreement with their source not to release the tape. Why not the transcript? In 2006, they had a tape of Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about a hot Latina legislator. Now, the LA Times was given that. They didn't release the tape, but they released a full transcript. Where is the full transcript? They leave people believing that either there's something wrong in there that they don't want to do, which they claim is not the case, or that there's something problematic with their reporting.
They wrote an article in April, and they were fully, it was not a pro-Obama article. It talked about this dinner where he praised this guy, Khalidi, and it was not exactly favorable to Obama. The LA Times broke the story. If they didn't want to reveal anything, they would have done the story.
Nothing you're saying. Well, the point is, why don't you just release a transcript? That'd be the end of this.
Transcript of what, the dinner?
The tape that they have.
Oh, the tape. All right. Well, you know, because they probably have promised the source.
That's crazy.
Do that.
No,
that's crazy.
Let me ask you this.
A source does not give a tape to a newspaper and say, but don't play the tape.
And if Khalidi is such a big problem, doesn't John McCain have a problem that his group that he headed funded Khalidi's group to the tune of $448,000+?
No, it was
John McCain gave this guy a grant to do his work. Isn't that a problem for John McCain?
No, it's much more distant in that case.
No, it's not.
It absolutely is. This is this Republican International Institute that supports democracy around the globe. It wasn't the group that the Wood Fund was giving money to.
No, it was gave money to a group headed by Khalidi for Khalidi to continue doing this work. If Khalidi is such a bad guy, why did McCain fund him?
You lighted over a rather important point. You said for Khalidi to continue to do this work. What was the work, Alan? I can tell you what the work was. It was for the Palestinians to have an election. It was to promote democracy.
But Khalidi is such a bad guy, Pat Caddell.
No, wait a second. No, you are not moving to Pat yet, because I am not saying that everything he does, that every single thing he does in every part of his life is wrong.
Let's dissect it.
But what Obama was praising him for, yes, that's not good.
Wait a minute. All Obama did was know the guy, have dinner with him, and talk to him. And you're talking about John McCain.
He ate dinner at his dinner table.
John McCain gave him $500 million.
John McCain belonged to an association that gave money to an association that this guy had.
You know, you're really parsing here.
It's far more distant. But if it was bad for McCain to do, how about you answer that question? Is it bad for Obama to be eating at his dinner table?
Pat Caddell, John McCain gave the guy $500,000. Is that good or bad?
He didn't give the guy $500,000. No, he didn't.
Ann, let me speak, please. The fact of the matter is that ought to be an issue. But I am saying, Alan,
let's make it an
back
issue.
to this other point. But let's make this. Let me go back to the point you said. If somebody gives you a tape and allows you to write a story on it, you have a right to run the transcript. That's all I'm saying. The issue here is journalism, and it's a right of people to know, just like they have a right to know whether McCain gave money to him or not.
All right, but
I'm just saying on behalf of the democracy, for
you're
God's sake.
glossing over McCain's involvement here because you want to go after Obama.
I'm saying
We're talking about
I think it could be a serious problem.
$500,000.
I think it's serious.
He didn't give it to him to be a spokesman for Arafat. He gave it to him to take polls among the Palestinians. It's a general democracy-promoting organization.
It was his organization.
You're not saying that every Jewish club
all I want to say is I think this is going to hurt Obama with the Jewish vote, in Florida particularly.
All right, guys, hang on a second. We've got to take a break.